Today's a really important day for our industry and for New York consumers. And we're here to help show some support for some of the legislators who today very publicly came out against what we consider a very unfair and burdensome tax.
This is a bad idea. It was a bad idea last year when the governor proposed it, and it's an even worse idea this year. It is dubious health care policy wrapped up in regressive tax policy that will cost jobs and will hurt working families. You know, I've been interviewed about this a few times, and I described it as an economic development plan for New Jersey. You would think Chris Christie put this forward.
When you start to look at the direction that we're headed, we are slowly eroding the basic items that's needed to provide for our family. One may look at this and state that, well, this is just a tax on sodas. There's an assault on the middle class.
The last thing that we need to do here in New York State is to make us more uncompetitive. We cannot afford that. It is about our jobs here in New York State.
5 minutes from my house is a world headquarters of PepsiCo. They are the largest private employer in our county. And so it's unspeakable what would happen were we not to reverse this proposed tax.
Customers will not be able to buy soda at these prices, and potentially they'll go out of state. Our volume will go down, and we'll have greater layoffs, and people will lose their jobs.
So I'm anticipating, should this thing go through, probably a reduction of somewhere between 30 and 40% of my head count.
Just last week, I was appointed to head a task force on government efficiency. We already found $75 million in savings just by looking at two agencies. If we can turn around and finally get our fiscal house in order, we don't need to raise taxes.
There's other places we could cut, and if we're going to be serious about jobs, we can't support another budget after last year's terrible budget that raised $8 billion in new taxes and fees.
I'm also the chairman of economic development, and I don't see how this tax helps us keep jobs and grow jobs in New York State. There's a lot of ramifications that we're not thinking about. And then the selling point on the commercials that I've heard is that it's going to prevent the health care cuts. Well, I read the governor's budget. It's got this tax and health care cuts.
The societal issue around childhood obesity is really something we need to work on from an education standpoint. And we at Coca-Cola have done a lot of great things to try to help be part of the solution, because we have children too. We have, through our efforts around our school beverage guidelines, reduced calories in schools 88%.
We do a significant amount of work in healthy, balanced, active lifestyle, and both in leading this business as well as being a mom. And we've also had a lot of assortment in our size packaging so that folks can make an educated decision for them and their families.
Personal responsibility, education, that's how you break the back of obesity, not by taxing it.
We have to protect health with education, not a revenue grab. So I will continue to fight this tax, as I have been. I will continue to join with you in telling the governor that this is not the way to go. We will do whatever we can to protect your jobs, your families, and your homes.
Indeed, we do need to do things, but we need to do the right things. And one of the right things is making sure this tax doesn't happen.
This New York State Senate is united in our opposition against this. The vast majority of us recognize this for what it is: dubious health care policy wrapped up in regressive taxation.